So, Ginger Snaps is one of the best teenage werewolf movies ever made. No caps. It's a truly compelling portrayal of Ginger's journey from just a young nihilistic girl to a ferocious werewolf willing to kill anything that displeases her. It's strangely relatable, especially if you're a woman. But that's not what we're here to discuss, right? So in this video, I'll be talking about Ginger's werewolf anatomy, but I'll do it from the perspective of the story. So while I'll tell you what's up with her body, I'll do it while exploring the movie, which in my opinion is a thoughtful examination of adolescence, identity, and empowerment. Horror fans with a taste for depth and originality will find it an interesting and thought-provoking film that rarely loses its bite. So without further ado, let's begin. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Ginger Fitzgerald? Ginger Ann Fitzgerald was the eldest daughter of Pamela and Henry Fitzgerald and the older sister of Bridget. She grew up in Bailey Downs, a town in Ontario, Canada. From an early age, Ginger and Bridget were inseparable and really never left each other's side. You know, like those really close sisters who do everything together and go everywhere together. So anyway, Bridget often followed Ginger's lead and did whatever Ginger did or asked. When they were 8 years old, the sisters made a blood pact to be united against life and swore an oath, out by 16 or dead on the scene, but together forever. That's pretty dark stuff for such young kids to do, but who are we to judge? You may have anticipated it by now that the sisters were introverted and shared a pretty nihilistic outlook towards life and everything else. They despised modern society and everything it represented. Now, years passed and the sisters continued to grow closer, but something was up with them. You see, quite unusually, by the age of 15, neither of them had started menstruating. Naturally, it was stuff like this and their own personalities that made them social outcasts, and as a result, they faced significant scorn from their friends. One day, their teacher and guidance counselor, Mr. Wayne, asked to see them after class. A friend of Trina Sinclair overheard Bridget talking about Trina's character and informed Trina. Noticing this, Ginger assured Bridget that she would cover her during their game. However, while Ginger was distracted, Trina pushed Bridget into the remains of a dead dog. In response, Ginger and Bridget decided to kidnap Trina's dog that night. That's a sick idea for revenge. But then again, these are two 15-year-olds who have little to no regard for what the society thinks of them. So although I don't want to, I'll cut them some slack. As they set out, they came across the mutilated corpse of another dog. Bridget noticed blood on Ginger and thought it was from the animal, but it was actually from Ginger's first period. Suddenly, the beast of Bailey Downs, presumably attracted by the scent of the blood, attacked and dragged Ginger into the woods while she screamed. Bridget chased after them and saw the creature bite Ginger. She tried to fight the beast by hitting it with her camera to free her injured sister, but was knocked back with great force. As they escaped, they narrowly avoided being hit by an approaching van driven by Sam, who ended up hitting and killing the beast. Bridget saw that Ginger's wounds were already healing and begged her to go to a hospital. Ginger refused, not wanting their mother to find out. I don't think I need to tell you that Ginger had turned into a werewolf. How does she transform into a werewolf? Over the next few days, Ginger undergoes quite a few horrid changes. But then again, none of this was unexpected since she had turned into a werewolf. Hair begins to grow from her wounds. She sprouts a tail and experiences unusually heavy menstruation. Ignoring Bridget's cautions, Ginger has unprotected sex with Jason and subsequently kills a neighbor's dog. So yeah, Ginger goes pretty wild out there like one of those city-based Gone Wild subreddits. You can really find all kinds of crazy stuff out there, man. Like really unbelievable stories and people. Anyway, alarmed by her sister's transformation, Bridget seeks help from Sam. He agrees that the beast of Bailey Downs is a werewolf and suggests that a pure silver ring might cure Ginger. Bridget persuades Ginger to pierce her navel with the ring, but it proves ineffective. Under the guise that Bridget is the one changing, they visit Sam again. He proposes using monkshood as a remedy, but notes that it only grows in spring. Frustrated, Ginger accuses him of merely wanting to sleep with Bridget and storms out. So she was getting really restless and was of the opinion that they did not really have a lot of time in hand. On Halloween, Bridget takes monk's hood her mother had purchased from a craft store and asks Sam to create a cure. When he asks if it's for Ginger, Bridget admits the truth and promises to meet him at the greenhouse bash party. While searching for Ginger, Bridget is attacked by Jason, who has been infected by Ginger through their encounter. She defends herself by injecting him with the cure and notices his immediate behavioral change. So now she's at least relieved that the stuff works. Ginger returns to the school looking for Jason. Upon arrival, Bridget is summoned to the guidance office over the PA system. When she knocks, Ginger pulls her aside and reveals that she has killed the counselor. Bridget calms her down and leaves to find cleaning supplies. Returning, she discovers the janitor severely injured with his throat slashed. Though he initially survives, Ginger becomes enraged when Bridget suggests he should have sought help and viciously kills him. At the party, Bridget finds Ginger making advances towards Sam, who rejects her. When Sam approaches Ginger, she breaks his arm. In a desperate attempt to save her sister, Bridget infects herself with the werewolf curse as Sam pleads with her not to. As the sisters begin to leave together, Sam knocks Ginger unconscious with a shovel. Bridget and Sam then place her in his van and take her back to the Fitzgerald house to prepare more of the cure for Ginger. How powerful is Ginger Snaps? Does she relate murder and blood with pleasure? Ginger's body transforms from a mere physical shell into a weapon, a walking temptation she refuses to conceal. Empowered by the violence and strength of the wolf within her, she embraces her new identity. With newfound agency, or let's be honest, the newfound power and ability to kill, Ginger asserts her freedom and takes control of her life. Her fascination with violence becomes something of a sexual release that helps her maintain sanity in an environment that seeks to keep her submissive and fearful of her own body. Her aggression gives her an advantage and allows her to behave assertively and afford her protection and the social capital to move freely. Others adjust their behavior toward her, not out of respect, but out of fear. For a teenage girl, instilling fear can prevent unwanted attention from boys and allow her to exist beyond the restrictive cliques of other girls. While Ginger sometimes protects her younger sister Bridget, seeing her as an extension of herself, her actions are primarily focused on her own well-being. She exerts control over Bridget, shaping their lives and the narrative surrounding them. Ginger strives to preserve both her life and her sister's, attempting to draw Bridget into a future where they can coexist on equal terms. Throughout the story, womanhood is portrayed not as a celebration, but as a burden, a new responsibility to manage. The physical changes that signify becoming a woman are sudden and alien, warping the body into something unfamiliar. Young girls are thrust into dealing with sexuality without remorse. Mothers warn their daughters that it's their responsibility to stay out of trouble because the consequences are now greater. Ginger begins to equate violence with personal liberation and, more frankly, masturbation, her desire for dominance manifesting in various ways. In fact, there's a scene in which she says, "I get this ache, and I thought it was for sex, but it's to tear everything to pieces." In a world that denies women the opportunity to wield power, owning one's body becomes a desperate plea for independence. Ginger's authority over herself, especially in interactions with boys and men, exhibits confidence and recklessness with no fear of consequences or anxiety about her future. She even kills a male guidance counselor, who is actually the werewolf, in a fit of rage. Through her violent actions and anger, she ensures that no man can oppress her. Does she have any weakness? On the way home, Ginger fully transforms into a werewolf and escapes from the van. Aware of her transformation, Sam and Bridget hide in the pantry while Sam prepares the cure. When Sam goes to find Ginger, she, now in her werewolf form, drags him out of the pantry and mutilates him. Bridget picks up the dropped syringe and follows the trail of blood downstairs. She attempts to drink Sam's blood to calm Ginger, but chokes and cannot continue. Realizing Bridget's insincerity, Ginger kills Sam in front of her. As Ginger stalks Bridget through the basement, Bridget returns to the room where they grew up. She finds the knife Ginger had used to try to remove her tail. Holding the cure in one hand and the knife in the other, she faces her transformed sister. Ginger lunges at Bridget, who accidentally stabs her with the knife. In the final moments, Bridget rests her head on Ginger's werewolf form, sobbing and listening until Ginger's breathing stops. The movie ends as the credits begin to roll. How does she come back after her death? Ginger begins appearing to Bridget as an apparition, telling her that she is healing faster and that the monkshood is not a true cure. It only slows the transformation. As Bridget's healing accelerates, her own transformation speeds up. Ginger continues to haunt her, taunting Bridget as she experiences growing cravings similar to those Ginger faced, urges for violence and heightened desires. During a group therapy session, Bridget becomes lost in unsettling daydreams. The lines between reality and her inner thoughts start to blur for her. Suddenly, a vision of Ginger snaps her back to the present. She looks at her hand and sees her palm covered in hair. Knowing her fate, she starts to feel depressed and stands before the bathroom mirror holding a shard of glass to her throat. Overwhelmed by her situation, she considers ending her life for good, once and for all, but ultimately chooses not to go through with it. Marvelous verdict. Should you watch or rewatch the movie? I'll be honest, I love the movie. I mean, Ginger Snaps is a ferocious and, astute. Yeah, it's an astute Canadian horror film that offers a fresh take on the werewolf genre. It focuses on the story of two sisters, alright, but it shines the brightest, like the full moon, when it combines dark humor with genuine scares to create a memorable cinematic experience. Ginger Fitzgerald, the elder sister, is portrayed as a rebellious teenager who despises the conformity of suburban life. She shares a close, almost symbiotic relationship with her younger sister, Bridget. Their bond is tested when Ginger undergoes a frightening transformation after being bitten by a mysterious creature. The film uses Ginger's metamorphosis as a metaphor for the tumultuous journey into womanhood. Her body changes in alarming ways, symbolizing the fears and anxieties associated with puberty, especially for girls. Refusing to hide these changes, Ginger embraces her new identity with aggression and confidence. She asserts her freedom and challenges societal expectations, and becomes both empowered and dangerous. Ginger's newfound assertiveness allows her to navigate the world with a boldness she hadn't possessed before. She defies traditional gender roles, exhibiting behaviors typically associated with masculinity. This shift grants her a form of protection and autonomy, but it also isolates her from those around her. The story also deals with themes of sexuality, identity, and the struggle for independence. Ginger's mother, Pamela, represents a different aspect of womanhood. No longer seen as a sexual being, Pamela moves through the world with a certain freedom due to her invisibility. In contrast, Ginger grapples with the sudden and overwhelming attention her changing body attracts. Bridget, the younger sister, resists the pressures of growing up and fights to save Ginger from her fate. She seeks to carve out her own path, even if it means distancing herself from her sister's destructive influence. Their relationship highlights the complexities of sibling bonds amid personal transformation. The movie doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of adolescence. It portrays the transition from childhood to adulthood as a monstrous event, filled with confusion and fear. Yet, it balances these heavy themes with moments of wit and charm, and prevents the story from becoming overly grim. The film has garnered acclaim for its sharp commentary and has been the subject of feminist analysis. By using the monster metaphor, it explores what it means to be a woman in a society that often fears female autonomy and sexuality. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.